Hey, welcome back. This is That Yogi Guy, and I have a few great questions. So I'm probably going to answer them in several audios. The first question I have right here is, in your book, and many others like it, there's a big focus on the superconscious state. My understanding of that state is that it's the mild lightness sensation that you feel whenever you gaze at the spiritual eye. And then he says that this even gets better when you gaze and try to relax yourself by peripheral vision and otherwise. Well, that's great. I'm glad you're using peripheral vision. Is that it? Only that? Or can you offer any insights on how that state feels? Also, it is said that at some point an advanced practitioner will be able to live in a superconscious state whether they are meditating or not. When does that happen and how does it affect your life? Great question. So that feeling that you get between the spiritual, between the eyes at the spiritual eye, that is not superconsciousness. That is a beginning sensation. That means you're going somewhere. That means you're doing your meditation correctly, and maybe you're getting a pull at the spiritual eye, or you're getting a magnetic sensation at the spiritual eye, or maybe you're getting a tingling throughout the body. Well, those are all signs that your energy is actually reversing back into the spine. But those are not superconsciousness, not at all. So we have a really good description of cosmic consciousness. So what happens here is first you're meditating and you get a lot of sensations, and you might get a sense of deep peace, or you might get a sense of joy, or even a sense of bliss while you're still inside your body, while you're still body conscious. And then at some point you go through the breath states that I mentioned, and at some point you go through the stages of reversing your senses, and then you find yourself in your spine. And when you're in your spine, there's no breath, there's no body, and there's no world. So there's nothing to reference who you are besides your own consciousness. So now that's a much deeper state than being in your body and feeling peace. Now the peace, you might even have a vision while you're still inside your body. You might have deep peace while you're still inside your body. But you see that the pratyahara, the state of being inside your spine, is a deeper state. Even though everything is gone, even though you might not actually be in a samadhi while you're in pratyahara, it is a deeper state because you're farther along on the path of getting to an actual samadhi. So there are a lot of sensations that are possible in meditation. There are a lot of experiences that are possible in meditation. Visions, peace, joy, bliss, sensations inside your body, like the breath states and the stages of reversing the senses. Now, all these are beautiful, wonderful, deep experiences. But pratyahara is deeper than all of those. And that's important to understand. And it's not lessening those experiences that you have while you're still body conscious, but it is differentiating them, one being a deeper state, because we need to know where we're going, where are we headed, what is our goal, and we need to have goals. We need to understand that pratyahara is a goal, and that beyond that lies samadhi, which is why this is a fantastic question, because we need to understand what samadhi is, what superconscious state is. Excuse me. So, first we may have sensations. Then we have the sensations of the breath states. Then we have the sensations of reversing the senses and going into the spine. Then we have the experience of pratyahara. Then it is possible to have a samadhi, when you merge with the light inside of your spine, when you're free of your body consciousness, when the breath and the body and the world are gone. Then it is possible to merge with the light that you experience inside your spine. That is a samadhi. Okay? That merging with the light, where you become that thing. You merge, you become one with it. Samadhi is to become one. Yoga is to become one. Samadhi, the roots that are inside samadhi and the roots that are inside yoga are extremely similar, because the goal of yoga is samadhi. It is superconsciousness. So, what does that feel like? Well, how can you describe something like that, like merging with something? You can't really do it justice. Hell, what does an orange taste like? Try to describe to somebody what an orange tastes like. Suffice to say, imagine your most blissful experience in life and then multiply it a couple hundred times. That might be a description. Certainly wouldn't do it justice, but it might be a description. And they're all different kinds of samadhi. And it gets so complicated. In Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda writes about cosmic consciousness. This is a very, very, very deep samadhi. So this is beyond pratyahara, beyond merging with a couple different lights inside your spine. Cosmic consciousness is extremely deep kind of samadhi. And that's what Yogananda's goal was, and he describes in the Autobiography of a Yogi. And in this experience that he describes with his teacher, Swami Sri Yukteswar, Sri Yukteswar actually stimulates this by slapping him on the chest, which is a very special yogic technique from one teacher to a student. And he describes it like this: my body became immovably rooted. Breath was drawn out of my lungs as if by some huge magnet. Soul and mind instantly lost their physical bondage and streamed out like a fluid, piercing light from my every pore. The flesh was as though dead, yet in my intense awareness, I knew that never before had I been fully alive. So this is really interesting, and this shows you that this is beyond the samadhis that I just described to you, because in those samadhis you lost your body consciousness. Here he's actually aware of the world around him and his consciousness. So he's in a samadhi and he's aware of the world around him. So this is a much deeper state than what we were talking about. So this is beyond an initial samadhi. This is beyond that kind of an experience. People on distant streets seemed to be moving gently over my own remote periphery. The roots of plants and trees appeared through a dim transparency of the soil. I discerned the inward flow of their sap. The whole vicinity lay before me. My ordinary frontal vision was now changed to a vast spherical sight, simultaneously all-perceptive. Through the back of my head I saw men strolling far down Rai Ghat Lane, and noticed also a white cow who was leisurely approaching. When she reached the space in front of my open ashram gate, I observed her with my two physical eyes. As she passed by, behind the brick wall, I saw her clearly still. All objects within my panoramic gaze trembled and vibrated like quick motion pictures. My body, masters, the pillared courtyard, the furniture and the floor, the trees and the sunshine, occasionally became violently agitated until all melted into a luminescent sea, even as sugar crystals thrown into a glass of water dissolve after being shaken. The unifying light alternated with materializations of form, the metamorphosis revealing the law of cause and effect in creation. An oceanic joy broke upon calm, endless shores of my soul. So this is something, this is probably the best description. So that's in the Autobiography of a Yogi, and that's in the chapter entitled An Experience in Cosmic Consciousness. And the thing to understand about that is it's far, far beyond beginning experiences of samadhi. It's a very, very, very deep state. There are infinite levels of samadhi. It just goes on and on. There's no end. There's no end. So it's important to understand that as if you go and read that whole experience. Also notice that he was immovably rooted. To answer the later part of your question, eventually yes. eventually, in his life, Paramahansa Yogananda described an experience of going into a nirvikalpa, that's samadhi, where he could walk around and talk and still be fully merged in this cosmic consciousness. Now, that is extremely, extremely deep. And we need to understand that and not make light of samadhi in these states, because they're very, very deep. And it is wonderful to have those goals of samadhi and enlightenment, if you will. And even better is to understand that we need to experience pratyahara in order to experience those deeper states. We need the interiorization, which means we need the stages of sense reversal that I mentioned in Hacking the Universe. We need to know those. We need to experience all of those. We need to pass through those. And to get to those states, we need the breath states, because that is the most important thing that you can possibly learn for your meditations, besides having the passion to show up. They help us more than anything, in my opinion. They help us get past the most difficult parts of meditation, which is wondering where we are inside meditation. It's a natural biofeedback device from ancient yogis. And it's all for you. That's all for you and I to use as we meditate. So concentrate on one of those at a time would be my recommendation. The breath states, the stages of sense reversal, pratyahara, samadhi. That's our route. That's the best possible route that you can use to figure out how to get into these very deep states. But understand, to get into these states, it's not a light thing. It's not something, just the sensation at your spiritual eye, that doesn't even touch it. That's not even the tip of the iceberg. These things are so big and so deep and so overpowering that one experience will change your life forever. So just remember that as you go seeking these, just how deep and how wonderful they are. So I hope that answers your question. Great question. I'd love to talk about this more. All right? But for now, that's all I have time for right now. And thank you all. God bless.